In today's forecast, a large storm system will bring widespread dangerous severe weather to the United States in the form of strong tornadoes, very large hail, and strong damaging winds, in addition to some very heavy rainfall, which could cause some significant and widespread flash flooding through the weekend. We'll talk about your temperature outlook and your tropical weather outlook at the end of the video. So if you are here, make sure to first and foremost subscribe to the channel so you are notified. Also, for future videos and live streams, turn on post notifications. Also, share it with friends, family, or on social media, and also make sure you are liking the video, giving it a thumbs up so it spreads all this information out to as many people as possible, especially because we have some significant severe weather. We have a double barrel area of enhanced risk today, one up here into portions of southeast Colorado, southwestern Kansas, and into northwestern Oklahoma, another one here in southeastern New Mexico and west central Texas, including parts of the Texas Panhandle. That is a 3 out of 5 in orange. In the yellow surrounding that, we have a 2 out of 5 slight risk, also an upgrade to a slight risk in northern Pennsylvania and southern New York State as well today, as we could be seeing a more aggressive severe weather up there at times. So looking here at the hail threat, could be pretty significant there from southwest Kansas, southeastern portions of Colorado into the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles, and also eastern New Mexico. Up to softball size hail will be possible going through the evening and the overnight hours. Also looking at the threat for some damaging winds. Some of them could be very significant, over 75 miles per hour, one up there into southern Kansas, getting into north central Oklahoma, including the Oklahoma City area, and then down there into western Texas here near Lubbock and areas eastward towards portions of Wichita Falls. And we have an upgraded 10% hatched risk for tornadoes right around the Lubbock area here, where we could be seeing a strong tornado possible as well. In the brown, that's a 5% chance. In the green, that's a 2% chance. Larger cities in the mix here. We're talking Amarillo, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, even as far east as Fort Worth as we go through this evening and the overnight hours. Let's look at the rotation that the atmosphere has so far, and notice our values are peaking right now at 8s and 9s out of 10, so that's pretty high. It will continue to grow as we go through the evening hours here, peaking around 9-10 o'clock this evening. That's when the low-level jet will really start to increase as the sun sets, and that will peak our tornado potential with rotation here in West Texas into Oklahoma, and that will carry into the overnight hours before really kind of leveling off after midnight. Now let's look at the storms here. Currently at 6 o'clock, we have a lot of supercells capable of tornadoes, potentially even a strong tornado down near portions of Amarillo and Lubbock. We also have the potential for some baseball to softball size hailstones with these storms and some 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. And as we go through the late evening hours, so we're talking 9-10 o'clock, we're going to start to see these supercells congeal into clusters, and that's when we're going to start to see more of a damaging wind and hail threat versus a tornado threat. Now, there still will be a chance for tornadoes, but I think 80 mile per hour wind gusts will be possible with this cluster developing in southern Kansas and northwestern portions of Oklahoma. And it has its eyes set on portions of especially the northern side of the OKC metro. So Stillwater, Ponca City, up there towards Tulsa. We're keeping a very close eye on the potential for 80 mile per hour winds after midnight. This is 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Potentially some supercells continuing across eastern Texas Panhandle into the Wichita Falls region. Something that could potentially produce more tornadoes even into the early morning hours on Friday. In addition to the severe weather threat, very heavy and torrential rainfall could cause some significant widespread flash flooding, especially from southern Kansas and into northern and northeastern Oklahoma. Areas like Oklahoma City, Ponca City, into the Stillwater area, into Tulsa. We could be seeing upwards to 6 inches of rain just with this complex of showers and storms just literally this evening and into early Friday morning. Now, as we go here across the eastern United States here at 6 o'clock, notice we have isolated to widely scattered showers and storms, mainly producing damaging winds and large hail. If they do become severe, the tornado threat is very low. The coverage is a little bit greater here in northern Pennsylvania, southern New York, prompting the Storm Prediction Center to upgrade this area to a slight risk of severe weather, which is a 2 out of 5 on the risk scale. That is where an area of more coverage of some 60 mile per hour winds and some quarter-size hail will be possible. Other than that, once the sun does set after about 9-10 o'clock this evening, we're going to start to see the coverage all across the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast really start to wane, and the intensity of those storms waning too, as the instability is really starting to dwindle. Now, the rainfall here, we will have some localized torrential downpours, make no mistake about it. Could be seeing up to an inch or two of rain if you get under one of those stronger storms, but there will be areas that miss out on a lot of the rainfall, that barely get a hundredth or a tenth of an inch of rain, especially up here into Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and eastern New York, or down here into Kentucky, so something we're watching as well. Now, going into tomorrow on Friday, June 6th, a slight risk of severe weather. Notice it's similar areas, Amarillo, down here to Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Little Rock, Nashville, and Memphis, all the way up into Lexington and Paducah, Chattanooga, Knoxville, Atlanta, Birmingham, all the way over into Florence and Huntsville. A lot of big cities in a slight risk as we go into tomorrow. Also another big city, millions of people impacted in Massachusetts. Slight risk for Boston, back down here toward Hartford as well as we go into the day on Friday. Damaging hail, potentially again up to baseball size across southeastern Colorado into the Oklahoma and Texas panhandle. So we're talking Amarillo again, Lubbock, down here into portions of Woodward, Oklahoma for the damaging hail. And the potential is there for 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts with a lot of those storms here, even up into the northeast. And then a 2% chance of tornadoes as well, including southeastern Colorado, eastern portions of New Mexico, all the way over into Tennessee and Kentucky. So Amarillo again, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Little Rock, Paducah, into Memphis, all the way to Nashville, and even into the Bowling Green area in Kentucky. We have a low but non-zero chance for tornadoes as we go through the day on Friday. So here's Friday morning at 7 a.m. Notice that complex from tonight's storms are going to continue across Oklahoma. So south and east of the Oklahoma City area, that's where the strongest storms will be at 7 a.m. here on Friday. Ardmore over here toward Fort Smith and maybe Fayetteville and Arkansas, watching out for some damaging winds. These should weaken with time as we get toward midday, as we really start to lose a lot of the instability, and then we'll build the instability back up again during the late afternoon and evening. That's when we're going to have more supercells, and again, same real estate as today, as we could be seeing some baseball size hail with these, a couple of tornadoes, and even some 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and then we'll do it all over again with more clusters of showers and storms. This one tomorrow night on Friday night could be a little bit more potent as it's more widespread across Oklahoma here. A lot of the state here will probably be seeing at least some damaging winds and hail with even a few tornadoes possible, but some very heavy and torrential rain, flash flooding will be a concern. This is tomorrow night's complex, adding another 1 to 4 inches of rain on top of the 5 to 6 inches in some areas that we could see tonight. So rainfall amounts between the two complexes tonight and tomorrow night, going all the way through Saturday morning on June 7th, we could be seeing up to 8 inches of rain, including the Oklahoma City area, Elk City and El Reno, over here into Tulsa. So something we're keeping an eye on going through the weekend. Now, across the east here tomorrow, a few showers and storms are possible from the Ohio Valley into the interior New England region here at Friday morning at 7 a.m. Going through midday, we're going to see a couple different clusters of showers and storms, one down here in the middle and eastern Tennessee, including the Cumberland Plateau and the Smoky Mountains vicinity. Another one up here along the Appalachians across the panhandle of West Virginia into western Maryland and southern Pennsylvania. And then a third one up here into eastern New York State into Massachusetts, where we could all see damaging winds, large hail, and an isolated brief tornado possible out of any one of these storms, but primarily damaging winds and large hail, and some very heavy torrential rain will be possible by these storms as we go through Friday. Now, going into Saturday, we're not done yet. June 7th, we see another slight risk of severe weather stretching from the Red River Valley, Dallas, Fort Worth, all the way over to Little Rock, Memphis again, Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, down here into Jackson, Montgomery, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Atlanta, Columbia, Raleigh, all the way to Wilmington. We have a chance for severe weather on a scattered basis there on Saturday. And then Sunday, June 8th, we're actually seeing another slight risk for Amarillo, Wichita Falls, and Fort Worth, and then all the way over here into Wilmington, Norfolk, Raleigh, Columbia, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, and Savannah, Georgia. So a lot of areas of severe weather as we go into Sunday. So here's the weekend. We got more clusters of showers and storms really developing here across the Dixie Alley and into the southeast. An upper level low will bring some showers, maybe a few stronger thunderstorms to the upper Midwest as we go through Wisconsin, Iowa, Northern Illinois on Sunday afternoon. Not expecting a severe weather outbreak up there, but one or two of those storms could produce some 50 mile per hour wind gusts and some smaller hail. Certainly not looking at any tornadoes that far north. Now, early next week, we're going to see a potent trough across the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes, and this is going to keep our conditions stable across that region as we go into the early part of next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Notice our instability is really weak then, so we're not really looking at any thunderstorms being forecast. If we see precipitation, it'll be just some light showers or sprinkles. A lot of our instability going to be hugging along the Gulf Coast. But that changes once the trough develops and then moves out by the middle of next week. It gets replaced by a weak ridge that's developing in the southeast and replaced by a trough in the Pacific Northwest. And this is our transition to a very active upper Midwest and Great Lakes weather pattern as we go into Father's Day weekend and then thereafter into late June. And this promises a lot of instability growth as well. Notice the reservoir of instability is not going to be in any short supply by the time we get to Father's Day weekend and then thereafter into late June. And we're going to have multiple rounds of significant thunderstorm clusters off the northwest flow. And one or two of these could be classified as a derecho. And a derecho is a fast-moving line of thunderstorms with hurricane force wind gusts 75 to 100 miles per hour or greater. They're typically known as straight line wind events, but we could still see some hail and even tornadoes along with the derecho potential as well in the middle of June and late June, as a lot of these continue to develop up into the Dakotas, Minnesota, and then drop southeast into the Midwest, Great Lakes, and the Ohio Valley. They could also produce a lot of rainfall, so flash flooding will need to be watched. Just to confirm that here, the ensemble model is actually picking up on the northwest flow thunderstorm cluster risk across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes, going all the way through at least June 20th, but this will likely extend into late June, maybe even as far as the 4th of July. So that is something we're keeping an eye on here for the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes region. Now let's look at our temperatures here for tomorrow afternoon. The heat, it will be on across the Gulf Coast. In fact, South Texas could be near 100 degrees as we go into Friday afternoon, 102 in Phoenix, 90s again in Florida, 70s comfortable up into the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast as we go to tomorrow. As we go into Saturday, a touch warmer across the plains as we'll be in the low 80s, and the heat, it will be on again across the areas of Phoenix, 104, Dallas, 95, 104 down here into the Rio Grande, and then Sunday, record highs possible as we have triple digits all the way up to the northwest across the Washington state. Oregon and Idaho, triple digits building into central Texas, and then going into Monday early next week, records will continue to be broken across the Pacific Northwest and the southern portions of Texas there. And finally, before we go, let's talk about the tropics. The National Hurricane Center has an 80% chance of a tropical storm developing over the next 7 days just off the coast of Mexico there in red, and in yellow, that's a 30% chance here of a tropical depression forming over the next 7 days just out ahead of it. And then in the Atlantic side, the National Hurricane Center is not worried about any tropical cyclone activity over the next 7 days. We'll, of course, keep you updated on this if anything changes. But right now, we're not looking at anything significant. So that is what we're seeing in the tropics. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure to give it a like, a thumbs up, share it with a friend, family member on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel and also turn on post notifications so you're notified for future videos and live streams we do on the channel. Thank y'all for watching and have a wonderful and safe rest of your day out there.